No, it's the days of Puram. Everyone is going to and enjoying Purams. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with the main points in a nutshell. Tharoor Shashi gets jettisoned over the IPL franchise imbroglio. Tackling oil rig disaster, #1 priority, Obama. US man names Pope Benedict in Milwaukee abuse lawsuit. Whaling plant draws anger from green groves. IPL chief Lalit Modi probed over corruption. X-37B military space plane launches from Cape Canaveral. And now the news in detail. In Ash's wake, European Union to hasten plan to merge airspace. As airlines around the world finally began moving to overcome a huge backlog of passengers left stranded by Iceland's volcanic ash cloud, the European Commission on Wednesday set a stage for a potentially acrimonious debate over plans to create a single authority with the power to override member states' control over their skies. The Commission adopted a package of proposals in 2004 intended to integrate the region's 36 national air traffic control systems into a so-called single European sky beginning in 2012. But aspects of plan still face resistance from some European governments that worry about risks to national security and from air traffic controllers unions, which argue that it will ease the way for job cuts. As recriminations over the decision-making during the volcano shutdown took on further intensity, the European Commission said that the disjointed national responses to threat posed by volcanic ash cloud had created a new impetus to the fast-track its plan to create a so-called European network manager. The Commission's initiative is likely to be welcomed by the airline industry, which has long expressed its frustration with the slow pace of the single European sky reforms. According to the International Air Transport Association, the inefficiencies created by the fragmentation of Europe's airspace go well beyond the recent chaos, in which more than 1 lakh flights were cancelled. Over 6 days, and airlines lost at least $1.7 billion in revenue. Tharoor Shashi, External Affairs Minister of State, made to resign over IPL franchise controversy. Forced to jettison Shashi Tharoor as Minister of State for External Affairs following claiming relations about his role in the Kochi franchise of the Indian Premier League IPL, the central government seems to have launched a witch hunt. The coordinated country-wide income tax surveys and searches of IPL franchises and broadcasting firms, the behind-the-scenes political machinations, and unwillingness to wait until the end of this week from the IPL final to be over look very much like a diversionary response, a vendetta. There's much to be done to see that this is hung by successful tournament. Now its third edition is conducted with transparency and accountability. But what's needed is rectification and not revenge. The government cannot pretend that it knew nothing about the alleged irregularities before IPL chairman Lalit Modi's tweets and l'affaire Tharoor made them public knowledge. The sting raised by the allegations over the IPL presents an opportunity to address the key issues. The inexplicable confidentiality clauses that draw the veil of the ownership of some of the franchises, the nature of the funds that flow into them, and the conflicts of interest involved at several levels of the IPL. Sunanda could face tax liability. The troubles of Dubai-based Sunanda Pushkar may be far from over. The IPL Kochi franchisee controversy has already had its first casualty, with her friend Shashi Tharoor being forced to resign from the union cabinet. Though Ms. Pushkar has given up her sweet equity in the Kochi franchise voluntarily, the income tax department is not impressed and could come knocking on her door. Officials associated with the investigations into the Indian Premier League's murky deals were of the view that Ms. Pushkar could be asked to cough up tax on the sweet equity. Zimbabwe leaders split over visit of Iran's Ahmadinejad. Iran's President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has arrived in Zimbabwe despite protests by the MDC party of Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai. The MDC has called Mr. Ahmadinejad a warmonger, a trampler of human rights and an executioner. It has also expressed concern that the visit could affect an attempt to improve relations with the West. Mr. Ahmadinejad was invited by President Robert Mugabe, who has been hit by Western sanctions. Mr. Tsvangirai was due to visit Europe for talks this week on getting the sanctions lifted, but his trip was delayed by the volcanic ash flight ban. Mr. Ahmadinejad is due to open a trade fair in the second city of Bulawayo on Friday, which the MDC compared to inviting a mosquito to cure malaria. Iran is under a range of UN diplomatic and trade sanctions aimed at stopping it enriching uranium. Iran denies its planning to make a nuclear weapon. Hobnobbing with dubious political leaders confirms stereotypes that we are banana republic, says a hard-hitting statement from the Movement for Democratic Change. An explosion in Peshawar killed officials of the state forces and some protesters. The explosion happened while activists of Jamaat-e-Islami were protesting in the town. Thousands of people were participating in the protest march. The explosion of a mild nature killed many people, including civilians and police personnel. Tackling oil rig disaster, #1 priority, says Obama. U.S. President Barack Obama has said that the dealing with Tuesday's oil rig disaster in the Gulf of Mexico is a #1 priority. The government was providing all assistance needed in the rescue effort of Louisiana and in mitigating the environmental impact, he said. The Deepwater Horizon sank after a blast, leaving 11 workers missing. U.S. man names Pope Benedict in Milwaukee abuse lawsuit. A man who says he was the victim of an American pedophile priest is bringing a lawsuit against Pope and Vatican in a U.S. federal court. His lawyers want the church to release any files it has on abuse cases involving priests. The alleged victim, whose identity has not been disclosed, says he was abused by the late Father Lawrence Murphy. Father Murphy is accused of attacking up to 200 children during his 20 years at a school for deaf children in Milwaukee. He was finally moved from St. John's School to another diocese in 1974, but was never prosecuted or defrocked. Riot police face Thai protesters after violent night. Hundreds of riot police have moved up to confront red-shirt anti-government protesters in Bangkok city center. But the police stepped back from immediate confrontation after a night in which 5 explosions killed at least 1 person and wounded 75. Britain, the US and Australia have issued new warnings against traveling to Thailand in the aftermath of attacks. Mrs. M.K. Kamalam, a famous Malayalam movie actor of the olden times, passed away. She was the heroine of the first voice-embedded movie of Malayalam, Balan. Apart from movies, she had also acted in TV serials also. The body will be cremated at the family premises at Vaikom.